Hi everybody, how you doing today? Thanks for coming by. Hey, you might remember in the last video I gave you a little sneak peek of that little motorcycle. Little Coolster Chinese 70cc pit bike. And it belongs to a friend of mine, and he got it for his kids. He bought it brand new a couple years back, I think in 2012. And I actually had it at the other house. And I'm going to insert a clip from back then with it actually running. And then I'm going to insert that here. And then I'll come back and tell you what's going on. Pretty quiet, huh? Okay. So there was that little clip of that little bike running, and it's a sweet little machine. But just recently, my buddy told me, he said, the kids had it out and they were running it through a bunch of mud here a while back, and then after that it wouldn't start again, and asked me if I'd look at it, and it's got the kickstand on it when it was new was almost too long. It would just barely stand up without falling over the other way. And now it's even more so to where it won't stand up at all. And I think the spring for the rear suspension has been crushed a little bit and sagging the belly of the bike. So it needs, I'm gonna take the kickstand off. Cut it. I think I'm gonna cut about an inch of it out of there. Maybe an inch and a quarter. And weld it back together. And that should lower to where it'll lean over and stand on the kickstand. And then we're going to look into it and see what else we can find and see if we can get it running for him. He thinks the carburetor might be gummed up. He doesn't know if it has spark. And yeah, traffic. Anyway, let's go have a look. So here is the bike in question, and you can see I've got it propped up on a couple little boards. And it's standing up, but just barely. If I take it off of those boards, it won't stand up. It will fall over the other way because it just won't lean over this way far enough. So I'm going to start by taking that off and working on that kickstand, and then we're going to take it from there. Just about an inch shorter. See if it looks like it's going to work, and if it does, I'll put some Rust-Oleum on it. Okay, so I checked the oil and it was low, so I put a little oil in it, got it up to where it should be, and I thought, well, let's check for fire. And the on-off switch, or the kill button, right there on the left handlebar, was like it was turned off, and they had pushed it back on, but it didn't go all the way, so I had to push hard on it, and then it went click and it kicked down, and I think it wasn't fully turned on. I think it was still in the off position, but we're going to check the spark plug, and I've got it set up here to check it. However, I don't know if the camera angle will pick it up, because I'm sure I'll move it. I'll be all zoomed in on it, and then I'll move it, and you won't see. But just so you know, I already checked it, and I saw fire. The spark plug needs cleaned up, but I'll see if I can kick it over a little bit without moving it. Of course, the spark plug's out of it, so there's no compression sound. Yeah, I saw a spark right there. So it's getting spark. Just probably won't hurt to clean that plug up. So I'll do that. And then we'll check to see if it's getting fuel. And if it's actually getting fuel, we'll try to start it before I tear the carburetor apart, just to see. Alright, so I tried to kickstart it. I was getting gas to the carburetor, but it didn't fire. So I went ahead and started taking it apart. And everything was just gummy, and I couldn't really see what I was doing, so I took the tank and the plastics and the seat off just so I could see. And yeah, it's a dirty mess. One of the carburetor bolts was loose. The other one was snug, but it's just dirty. You can see that filter has never been cleaned, and it just needs a good blowing out and cleaning up. It's pretty yucky. So I'm gonna do that, put it back together, and then see what happens. Alright, so I've got the carburetor all apart, and I thought I'd take a moment to show you guys this. One little trick that I like to use when I'm making sure that my needle jet or needle valve, which controls the gas going in to the carburetor by the floats or not, I will put up air hose to it, and I will hold it upright and blow into it. As such. And then I will flip it over. And you can see the floats will actually, as if it was full of gas. And if I were to actually have a clamp around this hose is not working very good. But you should feel resistance. Actually, you shouldn't be able to blow in there at all. Of course, you can't hear for all the traffic going by. But I'm actually blowing hard. See what I mean? And that will verify for you that, yeah, the needle valve is working. So you're going to be good as far as that goes. Come on over here and I'll show you the rest of this mess real quick before I put it back together. I should have showed you before I cleaned it all up. It's pretty crusty. There's my all my jets, and the screws to hold the bowl on were a booger. They didn't want to come loose. But yeah, I got it all cleaned out. It should be fine. And the needle jet itself was the worst. This big one here, this main jet, that was crusty. It looked like it had dried dirt on it. It was pretty bad. Anyway, and I already took out the air flow control on the side. It was set at 1 1/4 turns out, so that's where I put it back at. And that would be this one on the side, 1 1/4 out. Trick for these are just go slow, do one thing at a time, and remember where it goes. And if you don't think you'll remember, take pictures before you take anything apart, so you have something to go back and look at. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Don't like that. That brass stuff. Tell you what. bowl. It's actually backwards. Huh. The way they made that, when it's on the machine, it's like this, so you can access your choke. But your carburetor drain screws on the other side where you can't get to it without taking the carburetor off. It's like, well, what good is that? Alright, enough of that watching me. I'm going to go ahead, put it back on the machine, and then we'll see what happens. Alright, so, carburetor back on, all secured. A little bit of gas in the tank, got the gas tank back on, hooked up. So, let's see if it'll fire a lick. I gotta take a break and cool off. I'll think about it, see what I want to do next. Well, I didn't get it started yet, but I did get the kickstand back on it, and at least it stands up by itself now. So that was a success. I think my next move is going to be adjust the valves, because it's getting gas and it's getting fire. That'll be the next step, but I'm not tackling it today. It's actually 108 degrees here in the garage today. And I've had the doors open and it's still 108 degrees in here. So, that being said, I'm going to go in and cool off a little bit and give this some thought and maybe get back to it later. What is that? Yeah, look what we got. It just kind of showed up here about a week ago. Isn't that just great? So I guess we got a mouser.